Hello, hello, welcome to your reading. So today I have a reading for you from your future self. So this is a message to you from you in the future after things have already worked out. So let's see what you have to tell you. So I don't know if you guys saw it in the intro, but when I was shuffling this last deck here, the Angel Number Oracle, you had a whole spray of cards kind of like fly out of the deck. And they kind of landed in a couple of distinct groups. These two in particular, like I tried to pick it up about 3 or 4 times and was unable to. So I feel like we're not supposed to flip this over until the end. But the first pair that came out was very interesting. It's 1-3-2-1 with 1-2-3 in reverse. So the same numbers and similar colors showing up, with awareness showing up upright, but progress showing up in reverse. I feel like you may be in the awareness phase of the process right now, where I've seen this graph before, but it's like when you are becoming a master of something, you go through this period of time where you don't really know much and you're aware that you don't really know much, and then you start to learn a little bit more and you become a little bit more confident, and you eventually start to think like, oh my gosh, I have a pretty good handle on this, like I know quite a bit, like I'm kind of an expert. And then you reach this tipping point where you learn even more about this particular subject and you realize, oh wait, holy shit, there's actually like so much that I don't quite know yet. That is, I think, the point of, like, I think you have just recently passed that particular point, and that is actually when true progress and true mastery begins. People who know enough about their field of expertise to know that there is so little that they actually know and understand are actually usually the people who almost know like the most about that subject. Not to say that you are an expert yet, but I think you are on your way to potentially becoming one of those people. And don't be fooled. When you're in the beginning stages, you will reach that point where you think you don't know much at all, and you slowly build that process. There's like a second little dip in that you have to pass through. So if you're in that first dip, your ego will fool you into potentially never seeing that second dip, and those people can be insufferable. So don't be one of those people. So that's the first little grouping that came up. The next one here is passion and perseverance in reverse. So I feel like I'm also being called out a little bit. Where, passion is not enough to fuel mastery within something. I feel like the focus of this reading is going to be about you mastering something or becoming better or diving deeper into something that you would like to dive deeper into. Passion, like I said, passion alone is not enough to sustain that. You do have to have perseverance. And even for me personally, where I feel like my destiny is to be a tarot reader and Reiki master, I can be super amazing at those things, but if I am not consistent with showing up on my social media and putting myself out there, I won't be able to become a successful business at that. So I feel like too, for you, whatever it is that you are trying to do, make sure that you are showing up consistently, even on the days where you are not super passionate, because that perseverance is the thing that is going to just take you a lot further in the long run. Especially here with the bonds cards, so we have 202 and then 2020. And 1031, so Halloween or Samhain may be particularly significant for you. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like especially I feel like with the progress card showing up in reverse, I feel like you may be in a period, like in a space right now where you feel like you should be making more progress, or you wish you had made more progress, or in some way you just feel like you should be or want to be further along. I really feel like with this bonds card, like pay attention to the people who foster that within you, the people who encourage that versus like the people who, I don't know, just try to keep you where you are or don't necessarily encourage you in the ways that you like want to or need to be encouraged. Sometimes we don't want to be encouraged in the ways that we need to be encouraged, but if somebody isn't giving you either of those types of encouragement, I feel like that is something that potentially could raise eyebrows in some ways. And the last grouping of cards that came out is unconditional love, inevitability in reverse, change in reverse, and shift in reverse. So it's interesting that this is the only card that came out upright. So I feel like when we are going through just like kind of cataclysmic changes, like all of these words together, like inevitability, change, and shift, and the dark and the black in particular, really remind me of the Tower card. So when you are going through something very difficult, I do feel like unconditional love will be the thing that ultimately helps to bring you out of it. But I do like that these are showing up in reverse. Maybe it's saying that you aren't there quite yet, or maybe especially with it being kind of like tower symbolism but showing up in reverse, maybe it's saying that something that you're going to be going through or something about this process here is not going to be quite as sudden or drastic or terrible or all of those things kind of like associated with the tower. But yeah, and I feel like especially if you are in this particular period where again you're recognizing kind of like how much you don't know, I do feel like things are going to work out better than you expect them to. Again, as long as you do keep consistently showing up to try to move forward. And even as I'm saying that, I've personally had periods of time where my spirit guides have had me like hold off, like they just for some reason want me to like wait and rest. And sometimes it is very needed. Like we do need a little bit of integration sometimes to allow things to kind of like sink in and stick. So I don't know, everything is going to work out is a message that I'm hearing, especially from your higher self. And again, we're tapping into your higher self after you made it. So if you were drawn to this particular reason, congratulations, you do eventually make it in the end. The future may not look exactly like how you're envisioning it to, but I do think there is a good chance it will look very similar to something that you are thinking of. Like some of the key details may change, but I think a lot of the specifics are going to be the same. So, all right, the other card that we have here on the bottom of the deck, two more cards on the bottom of the deck before we get into the main cards, are trigger. So I do think in this situation, you may have somebody who like triggers this within you, or again, possibly makes you aware of how little you know on certain subjects. And I do think that is ultimately going to be a part of your evolution and your growth. You know, I do think some challenges you do have to like rise to the occasion. And sometimes if you are unable to rise to the occasion, I think that is also a circumstance where your spirit guides, you know, it's kind of like they already know that you need a little bit more healing in certain areas, but sometimes they use these situations to help show you that you also need healing in these certain areas. So really be mindful of the things that do trigger you and just the responses those bring up within you. I don't know, just kind of assess like why you feel that way. It's almost like if this other person is not at fault and it is just you in the situation, like why do you think you feel that way? All right, and the last card on the bottom of the deck is the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So this card, when it's upright, is about something totally new entering into the picture for you. With it showing up in reverse and with, again, this kind of like progress and awareness showing up, that particular combo, I do think you are going to be continuing some path this just kind of upcoming cycle. And I do feel like your future self is really encouraging you to like stay the path that you have already started walking. I feel like you are pretty far along in some particular area, and so there is a reason why you walked this far. You may as well make it to the end of the trail, and once you get there, I think you are going to get like, again, this kind of like payoff or reward. Not even so much that, but mainly it's just like, again, like making it. Like you get to do the thing that you wanted to do. You get to exist in this future that you ultimately planned for and created for yourself, which is super exciting. And like, if it doesn't work out, that's okay. You can plan and build for a different one. And that is what life is all about, is trying stuff out and building towards it and course correcting and reaching those little pockets of magic. Oh, and you do have the Two of Cups. underneath this card on the deck too. So if you have been looking for a romantic partner or just like a really close companion, whether this be like a best friend or a business partner or something like that, I do think if you stay this path, I do think that person is going to find you on this path. So it's almost like, again, if you are hiking up this mountain and you are, I don't know, just like there at the top, this other person is going to be hiking that same trail, so they will meet you at the top or meet you along the way in that process. Or even potentially for some, after you're coming down off of that trail. But whatever it is, if you stay this path, you will cross paths, is what it is saying. All right. So for the first card that we have here, we have the Queen of Swords. So the specific thing that your higher self wants you to focus on right now, I think, is really working on improving your communication, or particularly some aspect of your style of communication. It's like, kind of for some people, especially with like the different birds on here, I feel like they are wanting you to invite a little bit more like playfulness or fun, or kind of like humor specifically into how you communicate or how you talk to the people around you. I'm really specifically hearing the phrase like you catch more flies with honey rather than with vinegar. So the kinder you are to people, I think the better experience they will have with whatever it is that you are putting out there. And the clarifying oracle card for this, is the Hold card. Kind of what I'm feeling from this too is like, don't hold back. Like, you can still say like things that sometimes need to be said without being mean. So you can, I don't know, be a little bit kind, or again, kind of present something in just like a slightly less painful way, because everybody is ultimately carrying a burden. So sometimes, again, if somebody does need to hear something, there is probably a reason why they are behaving that way that we may not see to begin with. And so I feel like in particular, something about this is needing to be met with a little bit of empathy. Yeah, kind of, because it's like with the bonds and trigger showing up here as well. It's like you don't want to be a trigger for somebody else, or you don't want to, like, if somebody is going to be triggered, it's like you want that to be as kind or as easy of a process for them as possible. Because kind of like the bonds or the connections that we have with the people around us are kind of all that we have at the end of the day. And sometimes people don't have the best connections to the rest of their life. And that can really, I think, shape who somebody ends up becoming. So particularly, I think, as you are moving forward again on your path, whatever this may be, really, I think, try to treat the people that you do interact with just a little bit more kindness and consideration, because I think that will really ultimately take you a lot further. And there's even a thing that I've heard where there's a quote by Maya Angelou where it's like, someone may forget what you told them, or they may forget what you did for them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So I feel like your higher self, so I feel like your future self is really wanting to ensure that you do make a positive impression on somebody, particularly because maybe your future partner may be someone who triggers you a little bit, because I think ultimately the person who we are meant to be with forever is going to be somebody who we can kind of, like, they kind of get us in certain ways, and so they can sometimes trigger us unintentionally because they are so similar to us, or sometimes, just like key differences with somebody who is so similar to you can be triggering in their own way. Okay, so on your personal side here, you have the Seven of Swords in reverse, clarified by the Trust card. Oh my gosh, I love that I felt called to pull that one now instead of at the end. So the Seven of Swords in reverse is saying to like not keep things hidden, or sometimes I feel like we can have this message to like keep things close to the chest, or like wait to reveal things until they're almost done, and like be careful who you trust. And I feel like yes, to a certain degree, but really the thing that's coming through right now is to like be very open and vocal specifically about your dream. Like I think you have, especially if this video has crossed your path, your spirit guides will be bringing this to you at the right time in your path. I feel like you have reached or crossed a tipping point where you can start sharing this now. And it will actually be incredibly beneficial if you do start talking about this and sharing this now. I really feel like with trust showing up, they are saying to trust. This message, again, would not be reaching you if it was going to harm you or harm your dreams or whatever it is you want to do in some way, shape, or form. So by just like doing this, I do think there are going to be new opportunities that cross your path because of it. And also too, I think that's why the Queen of Swords came up again, where you are going to be having like you will have to communicate a lot more in this particular phase of your journey. So being a lot more comfortable with just how you communicate and how you come across, making sure that is as fine-tuned and polished as you would like for it to be. Not to say that you have to be so like strict and precise and robotic, but it's like, again, making sure you're showing up with like a certain level of kindness within your readings or a certain level of bluntness or humor or whatever these qualities are that you are trying to embody. Just kind of making sure that your speech reflects that and it's not embodying callousness or, you know, just like rudeness or any of these other things. I feel like for me too, it's like I have to watch my chuckling. Sometimes I just like nervous chuckle when I channel because the energy just feels a type of way. I don't know. Anxious chuckling. But yeah, and especially with this hand coming through too, I really do think there is going to be a person who comes into the picture to help you along this path. Again, for some people, this is not going to be a romantic partner. This is going to be like a business partner or like a soul bond or soul connection. But yeah, this is definitely going to be very positive when it does. And when this does come in and you do feel like this is a soul connection, just allow yourself to be open with those people because I think, you know, really just like pure soul connections are rare. And when you have somebody else who can explore the world or themselves just as deeply as you do, I think that can be extremely fulfilling. And we don't always find that in the people around us. So I do think that is something that is worth holding on to and also exploring as long as you're both, I don't know, just like open and comfortable to do that. All right, and the card we have on the external side is the Fool in reverse with Guide upright. So I feel like this is showing up here for two different reasons. So this particular position in the spread is the external side, which can represent your external side and also, or how other people are interacting with you. So I kind of feel like with the Fool in reverse, it's like, again, and with the message that came through at the beginning, like you are not new at something. And I think you do have a certain level of expertise in a particular field. And I feel like you will ultimately be like, you will help teach others about this thing that you have knowledge in. So I feel like you will be a guide for others, but also, especially because you have reached this point where you recognize there is a lot that you do not know, I think someone else is also going to be like stepping in to be a guide for you as well. So you will be guided and you will also help to guide others, and that will in turn help you all get up the mountain together. So I feel like with your higher self wanting me to call our attention to that today, I think as you, again, just like move into whatever next chapter this is for you, just like stepping into it with the mindset of being a guide and also that people are going to look up to you, that I think will also help to shape your communication. And again, like how you think, just kind of like the kinds of words that you use and develop your own unique style with it. The last cards that we have here at the bottom before we flip over those two, the two oracle cards that popped out are the Elder of Wands with the Chaos card in reverse. This is really interesting to me, particularly because I feel like I love working with chaos. A little bit of chaos magic, but also I feel like if I was like an alignment in D&D, I would be chaotic neutral. Like I just kind of like to see stuff happen sometimes. I want everything to ultimately work out for the better, but sometimes it's like I just want to see stuff happen. And I feel like, I don't know, I've really been noticing that lately and recognizing just kind of like the entity or deity of chaos. And like, obviously in the Greek mythos, chaos, the deity, is the thing that kind of like birthed all of creation. So that's kind of interesting. I think with chaos showing up in reverse, and especially with like guide and this kind of like mentorship, mentee kind of like energy coming through, I do feel like your spirit guides are saying to maybe become a little bit more like structured and organized in this particular chapter of your life. You may not have to be like that forever, but if somebody told you, if you got down to brass tacks and really just focused on getting back to a schedule and being structured and organized and having a routine and scheduling things out, if you did that for a whole year, you would accomplish your dream. Like I am telling you right now, as your future self, channeling through Shemen here on YouTube, if you can dedicate one whole year, 365 days with weekends and time off at your discretion, but if you really dedicate a year of your time to doing this, you will succeed. Period. Stop. No holds barred. Maybe bar exam for some people. I know I've done a couple of readings for potential future lawyers, so maybe that's confirmation. But you will succeed. Like you are destined to succeed. You know from the bottom of your soul, at the deepest part of your chest, that this thing is in some way, shape, or form meant for you. You are right. You are correct. Like this thing is meant for you. And I have some money drawing spray right here, so let's go ahead and bring some of that in. I don't want it to get too much on my cards. But yeah, not only are you going to succeed, but you are going to make money from this. Like this is going to be your career. Eventually. It may not happen at the year mark, full stop. But if you dedicate a year of your life to this, like you will put yourself like basically just like so like on the path towards the top of that mountain. Some of you will get there. Some of you will reach the very top. Some of you may just be starting out your path, but you will get a lot further along and you will be able to see that you can make it to the top at the end of this year. So I think that's super exciting, especially again with the Elder of Wands card here. Really like create a routine, like get a schedule for yourself. Personally, this year myself, I have been wanting to work with time a little bit differently. So rather than working with like the normal calendar, I'm trying to work with like the 13 moons and seeing if that works a little bit better for me. I'm also potentially looking into trying some like ancient forms of timekeeping before we all switch to like the 7-day time week. But I feel like I can't have a normal job to switch to that. So maybe at some point in the future when I'm just here on the internet, I'll try that out for you guys and let you know how it goes. So potentially follow me along if you want to see that. Or if you're watching this from the future and I've already done that, go ahead and leave a comment so I come back to this video and I get confirmation for that again. But yeah, this is the King of Wands, so there's also this sense of like passion, creativity, inspiration, where I feel like at the end of the day, it's like that is why this is so important, is because this is your passion. Like this is the thing that you love. And when people do the things that they love, like other people love the things that they do. I really think you have the potential to inspire other people and help set them along on their own very wonderful, unique paths, especially with this guide card showing up here. Like, I really think you are meant to be a very influential person, like in this field. And I think you know that. And I think at the end of the day, part of that scares you a little bit. And I think honestly, it's like the prospect of so much success may trigger you. I know for me personally, I have money wounds. So even when I pulled out the money drawing spray, I was a little like, ew, cringe. So maybe you're kind of like that. Maybe you're like, no, I don't do it for the money. I do it for the passion, not the fame. Like, like you can do both. You can do it for the passion and not be a sellout. You can do something you love and still find your connection to that love and be celebrated for it. Like, let people celebrate you. Ooh, clock it. I think that is a trigger. I know I have that trigger. Let somebody celebrate you. Let yourself be celebrated for all the hard work, time, energy, and dedication you put into perfecting this. Yeah, you're not perfect. You have so much more out there yet to explore, and so many people don't see that, and you get to be one of the first peoples to explore that. First peoples. You get to be one of the first people to explore that. That's super cool. Like, I think people at some point are going to be honored to have been in the same room as you. Like, they're going to pull out their old yearbooks and be like, oh my God, I went to school with so and so. Not to like hype you up unreasonably, but I really think that is the kind of energy that I'm in here. At the time of recording this, I'm a really small YouTuber. Like, very few people watch these, especially all the way through. So if you're hearing this, like, I definitely think that this is meant for you. Ooh, okay, yeah. And the two cards that were in reverse that we just flipped over are purpose and mindfulness. So I really think, again, like something about this is your purpose and your destiny. And I really feel like with the mindfulness card here, again, it's like you kind of have a certain level of awareness kind of within this particular field that a lot of people don't have. I think, especially if you look around at the people around you and you question how they became so successful because you feel like what they're doing is not nearly as good as what you're doing. I think that's a really good sign for you. Like if they can be successful, so can you. It's not that they did anything unique or different. Honestly, all they did was show up. They put themselves out there. That's a thing. So again, if they can do it, you can too. You will have, your own, you may have to fine tune how you're putting yourself out there. But I think if you are committed to like just kind of doing whatever it is you need to do in order to just kind of allow yourself to do this thing that you love doing, like, I just really think you will succeed. I feel like I don't need to say any more about this at this point. And again, I feel like some of the particulars for this are going to be different for every single one of you who is watching this video. So if you would like more details or confirmation, I am available for personal readings. But I think, again, you know what to do at the end of the day. It is just a matter of like walking the path. Like, you can know about the path to the, I don't know, just like you can know about the path to the top of, I keep wanting to say the Empire State Building for some reason. So maybe for some people, New York is going to be significant, but yeah, it's like you have to take things one step at a time. Like if you are at the bottom and you want to make your way to the top, you have to go one step at a time. And even if you take the elevator, like you still got to wait for the elevator. The elevator still has to physically move up like all of those, like all of that space. So I don't know, it will happen. You will rise. It will take time to get there, but the more time you spend doing it, the sooner that day will come. So there you go. That's your reading. Thank you so much, everyone who stuck around to the end of the video. I and your future self greatly appreciate you, and I'm sending you a whole bunch of love, luck, and success right now. Again, if you would like a personal reading, that is all available on my website. I also do palm readings, Reiki sessions, pet Reiki. I teach classes. I do a lot of fun stuff on there, and I'm constantly updating it, so make sure you check it out. I also sell all of the tarot decks that I use in my readings on my website as well, so if you're interested in any of these, I have those linked down below. If you would like to tip me, that is also available down below. Or if you have any questions for me or want to see anything else, my website is linked also in the description. So thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye.